Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. GOLDBRIDGE is back in the house and it's the United Stand live on Friday night, which always means it's a good show. And we're going to blow the bloody doors off tonight because I don't know what's been going on the last few days. This is the longest in the United Stand's history that we haven't had GOLDBRIDGE doing live shows 3 days in a row. And I've been sat there in Majorcan bars and on Majorcan beaches looking at the news going, you need to get back doing live streams. I can't believe how much of a crisis this club is in. We've got Maguire staying. We've got the Glazers trying to stay. We've got the Greenwood saga. We've got a year contract for Johnny Evans. We've got a sell to buy. We've got people slagging off Casemiro. We've got Amrabat waiting for United and could go out. I mean, it's a shit show. Let's call it for what it is. The club is a shit show. And you know what? I want to thank the community because I don't get away that often. I've had a fantastic few days in Mallorca. Met some fantastic people. Absolutely scorching hot. 34 degrees every single day. On the sangria. Absolutely great break. But I've got to be honest. You know, you don't leave the club for your support behind. And I was saying in the bars at night, God knows what's going to happen tomorrow then, because it just seemed to be one bad decision after another. But when you have a little bit of a break, you do sort of think, well, you know, maybe one day I just won't go back. Maybe one day it'll all end. And I think it, you know, if anything, it sharpens the mind and it sharpens the focus to get a little bit of a break sometimes and think, you know what? This isn't a bloody job. This isn't going through the motions. The whole point of this community was that we created something that others tried to copy. We created something that was unique, and it's unique because it is real. And there's no point playing at it. The minute you start playing at it, you may as well walk away. And maybe one day that will happen. But I come back rejuvenated. I come back ready, and I come back not shirking any of the big topics, because what's the bloody point? If we're not going to do it properly, we won't do it at all. So we're back and we're going to do it properly tonight, because I think this club's in a crisis. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised at the journalists. I'm surprised at ex-players. I'm surprised at certain sections of our fan base that don't want to acknowledge the absolute shit show this club is in. We've got an absolute PR nightmare around Mason Greenwood. We've got Glazers who were meant to sell the club that are now trying to stay. You've got Harry Maguire, who Ten Hag accepted a bid for, who apparently isn't even part of the travelling squad tomorrow, who is trying to stay and stopping us buying other people. And he's not the only one. Donny van der Beek, Scott McTominay, Dean Henderson, Brandon Williams, all players staying when they should just go. We've got a sell to buy. You've got Amrabat, who wants to come to United, but United haven't got the money to do it. The club is in a bloody mess at the moment, and I find it hilarious. And I tell you what, let's call them out. These bloody facilitators, these Twitter accounts that get a bit of info from the club so they pretend that everything's good. Oh, you know what? I think Mert's doing a great job. I think Richard Arnold's doing a great job. Oh, yeah. We know who you are. We know who you are. We see you on Twitter every bloody week. You're there, you know, shoving smoke up the arse of the club because you're getting inside information. Oh, you know what time a signing's going to happen. You know what the team news is. Yeah, at what price? You're selling your soul. You're not real, United fans. You're not real. You're selling your soul for a bit of inside information because you'll put positive stuff out. Shame on you. Shame on you. Because I tell you what, it's been happening with us for years. You know, we're not going to do that. That's not what real fan opinion is, and it's not what the benefit of the club is. Who owns the club isn't what's best for the fans. The fans stand as the most important thing in this football club, and we get ignored again and again and again. Mark, I've had it. I can't speak. Between Beth and Faz winding me up about the Glazer Prats, I've had it. I should have punched Avram in December when I saw him, says Sumi. Okay, and I actually envy people that believe that we've had a good window. They must live perfect and problem-free lives. But seriously, last time, Glazers. Elliot, you know what? I'd had a few Estrellas the other night. I did that stream in the car park, in some Majorcan car park I found, and I'd had a few Estrellas, and I couldn't believe that I was right. My mind had gone into a fog, and I was going, we bought Hoyland, Anana, Mount, and I was convinced we'd bought somebody else. I had to cut the video, have a walk around that park, get in the shade, and then start again. If you saw the video, I genuinely thought we'd bought somebody else and had forgotten about them. I really did think we'd bought somebody else. I thought Mount, Onana, Højlund, there's someone else. And I really was like, oh, I've got to stop the video because I don't want to make myself look an idiot. And then I realised, no, you're not an idiot. We haven't bought anybody else. We've got to sell to buy. There's so much to get into tonight, but it's a Friday night show, so it's going to be all over the place. I don't apologise for the lack of structure. Smash a like on the video. Goldbridge is back live with the people. I tell you what, I've missed it. I've bloody missed it. I really have missed it. I've been looking forward to this. With all due respect, says Mojo, we don't need protests anymore. This has to be a riot at Old Trafford. My apologies for saying so, but we aren't left with any other options. Can I just say from the off, fantastic show, fantastic cover from, I don't even call it cover, fantastic support in the community from Faz, from Beth, from Adam, from everybody involved. I think I've been watching a lot of the shows. They've done a great job, and I know you've been supporting them and getting involved in it, and it's been great. There's been so much stuff to get involved in, and genuinely, I'm there on Tuesday. We've just landed in Mallorca. I watched the match on Monday night with you. Early morning flight into Mallorca. I'm just there having the first sangria and lovely weather. Phone pings, Maguire's staying. I was like, fucking what a great way to start the holiday. I'm only here for 3 days. Tuesday, Greenwood's coming back. Oh, for fuck's sake. This morning, the Glazers don't want to sell the club. I'm like, I'm never going on holiday again. Never going on holiday again. You're right, cheek looks swollen. No, I don't think it is. I don't know what, that's my left cheek. I don't know. You're talking facts, Mark. They need calling out, says Chav. I tell you what, it's United stand, but I actually have people who it's like Goldbridge Health stand. You look a bit different. I'll probably just put some weight on, Mandy. I've been having 3 meals a day and loads of beer. I'll probably just put some weight on, to be honest with you. But look, on a serious note, on the sale, I will start off on a positive. And get your comments in. We've got loads of super chats coming in already. On a positive, this story that Luckhurst put out about the sale not happening. I don't believe this. I don't. Look, and I might be wrong. I said this to you over a year ago. I think the Glazers will sell because they can't afford to rebuild Old Trafford. I said, look, the protests are fantastic. I think they're really, really important, but that's not going to be the reason. The Super League, there was protests, they weren't going to sell. The reason the Glazers will sell is because they can't afford to rebuild the club. And I still believe that they will sell. So I don't believe this whole they're looking to stay. I think they will sell. I might be completely wrong about that, but I'm not actually. The only thing I would say about the sale is I'm bored about it. I thought it was quite exciting and interesting in February. It's now August. I've got no interest in the sale anymore because it's boring. The Glazers ultimately are scum, and that's what they are. I don't think anybody should be shy of saying that. I don't think anybody should be scared of saying that. The Glazers are scum at running this football club. I mean, let's call it for what it is. The whole club is a disgrace at the moment. From bringing Mason Greenwood back, to allowing people like Harry Maguire to stay, to giving Johnny Evans a contract, to having players like Amrabat and Pavard and Todibo who want to come to the club but we can't buy them because we've got no money. The fact that the Glazers are still here, it's a scumfest. It's a shithole. The club is a joke, an absolute joke. I love it to bits. You don't walk away from it. It's the club that you support. But the way it's being run at the moment, I don't think it gets enough focus. It's an absolute shithole run by people who shouldn't be in jobs. I'm disgusted with it, and we're going to get into it tonight, but that club is run terribly. Massive rumours coming out of the club, by the way. Members of staff and members of the dressing room who are not happy with the way the club's being run on various levels. I've said this so many times. People are trying to pretend that this summer transfer window is good. Look, Onana's a great signing. I'm really excited about Højlund, and I hope Mount works out. But it's not enough. It's not enough. Who in their right mind thought United needed to buy Mason Mount? I mean, did you watch the game on Monday night? Who in their right mind thinks that should have been our first signing? Mason Mount, another Bruno, who's not as good as Bruno. I mean, I just think the whole club is a mess. An absolute mess. And the transfer window that people were trying to pretend was good. We couldn't sell ice cream on a sunny day. It's a joke. The club is a farce. An absolute farce. Chelsea have raised £300 million this summer. Not over the last few years, this summer. I don't think United have raised £300 million in the last decade. I might be wrong, but as a guess, I don't think we have. Welcome back, Mark. Honestly, if we don't sign another CDM, I think we can write the season off. Casemiro is going to miss games guaranteed, and I'm worried, says Lee. Convinced that stories about them staying are rooted in the way they want to hire Fiend, nothing else. I agree, Elliot. Welcome to Members Club, Sam. Cheers, Mark. You helped me through some tough times with your entertaining content and was able to get into my dream uni. Keep it up, says Random. Well done. I've booked my ticket to watch my first game at Old Trafford in January. Really hope that we'll be in a better place than them, says Byron, who is in South Africa. And it's a pity the Glazers and Maguire put a bit of a downer on your holiday. They need to sell up and go back to their rat hole, says Andy. Well, there's a lot of things that we do need to digest, of course, this Friday night. But I feel that, look, first and foremost, I've never been a fan of this transfer window. I like Mount, I like Onana, and I really think Højlund's a good signing. But I think it's despicable and ridiculous that only a few weeks ago we had certain people in our fan base telling us what a good window it was. I mean, I read the tweets. For the first time in ages, United are acting like a proper football club, getting their business done quickly. And I thought, how much are you being paid by the club to do that? Who in the club is paying you to write that shit? It is absolute bollocks. Bollocks. United are finally getting things done quickly after years of bad stuff. Let's join the Murta and Arnold fan club. Piss off. Absolute shite. Absolute bollocks. If you tolerate this, then your children will be next. If you think that this summer transfer window is good enough for Manchester United, we are fans. We are fans. We don't pretend to be anything else. We haven't got degrees in football. We are football fans who watch and consume something we love week in, week out, hour after hour, day after day. And I said this, and many of you agreed. This summer transfer window will be dictated to by sales. Not purchases, sales. Because to defeat the financial fair play excuse, you have to sell. It was, the most obvious solution in April, in March, in February, in January. If United were going to have a good summer transfer window, two things had to happen. One, we either got sold, or if we didn't get sold, we had to sell players. Because United have been talking about financial fair play for years. Chelsea have sold £300 million worth of players in one summer. Chelsea have sold £300 million worth of players in 3 months. Man United have barely raised 30 million. I don't know whether we actually have raised 30 million. So Chelsea have raised 10 times what Man United have raised in 3 months, in one summer. And Chelsea are buying Casido, Lavia and everybody else they want, because that's how you beat financial fair play. That is competence. And yet people want to say, Murta madness, Richard Arnold's done a good job. Bollocks. Absolute nonsense. We've got so many players that could and should have been sold. Why is it Liverpool, Manchester City, Chelsea have exploited the Saudi Arabian market and United have sold nobody of any value to Saudi Arabia apart from Tellez? We are awful in transfers, and this summer transfer window has not changed that. Yes, we've all waxed lyrical and got excited about Onana, and we've all got excited about Højlund and Mount to a certain extent, but this summer transfer window has been subpar because we employ facilitators of the Glazers who are not good at their job, but under no circumstances will never exploit them and will never out them for what they are. They are puppets. And that is why United don't succeed, because it's jobs for the boys. Let's all protect each other. We're all shit together. Sam, welcome to the Members Club. David Murphy has just gifted 5 memberships. And Friday night show, says JM. Yeah, it is a Friday night show. Anything can happen here. Don't forget, we've got a watch along for a match tomorrow as well. But I feel that, when things are going well, I try to be consistent and you get called a moaner. And then when reality bites, everyone goes, you're right. But there was, it's easy when you've just bought an Onana to say, oh, yeah, United are doing so well in the transfer market. But it's about sales. It's about the sales. That's what it's all about. So when I go back to Tuesday and I'm there sipping my sangria, getting a bit of a tan, and the old news comes out that Maguire's deal with West Ham has fallen through. Can I just tell you, be the villain, welcome to the Members Club. Can I just tell you this, right? I'm just going to dish you some facts and then you make up your own mind. I think this is really important. So United bought Harry Maguire for £80 million and gave him 200 grand a week. Eric Ten Hag comes in and within a year wants to sell him for £30 million. Eric Ten Hag can sit in interviews like he did last week and today and say, I've always said Harry Maguire's good enough, he's got to show me. Mate, you've just tried to sell him for 30 million quid. You lied about De Gea, you lied about Ronaldo. I don't mind. I'm not calling him a liar in a bad sense. I think sometimes you have to lie, and I like Ten Hag. But don't talk to me like Harry Maguire's part of your plans. You took the captaincy off him and you told him to go because he ain't good enough. And now he's told you he ain't going. The tail is wagging the dog at this football club. That is the big problem. And I challenge the football club to show me that they've got a pair. Basically, there are people in that football club. Brandon Williams on 50 grand a week. You can't get rid of him. Ten Hag wants to get rid of him. You can't get rid of him because he's sat there on a big contract saying, I don't want to go. On the way back from America, he's doing an Instagram post with an angry face. A week later, he's all happy again because he's got control. He's in power. He can decide what he wants to do. Harry Maguire, I've got nothing to prove. I'm England's starting centre-back. We accept a bid from West Ham. Are we staying now? Donny van der Beek. Look, the thing is, we're not talking personally here. We're talking in relation to players. Donny van der Beek, a player I really liked, should have left. Hasn't gone to Sociedad. Hasn't gone to Ajax. Isn't part of our plans. Hasn't gone yet. These players have got the club by the balls and they twist. And you know why they twist? Because the club is a weak football club. You tried to do this at Man City. You tried to do it at Chelsea. You tried to do it at a big club. You're off. Piss off. Who do you think you are? Get out. Oh, you're going to hold us to ransom for 200 grand a week? Fuck off. Do one. Who do you think you are? We're Manchester United. Get out. We want Pavard or we want Todibo. We don't want Maguire. Get out. Yeah, but I want 200 grand a week. There's your 200 grand a week. Piss off and go and play for West Ham. You shit. Piss off. You know, that's a bit harsh, but the reality is United can't get rid of these players. They've got the power. Player power still exists at Manchester United. We can't get rid of these players because they're in power. And you know why they're in power? Because we're in debt. We're owned by the Glazers. And the Glazers cannot say and will not say to Richard Arnold or John Murtagh, you know, when Maguire refuses to go because he wants 200 grand a week payoff, we don't want to pay it. So we'll have to keep him then. Whereas Qatar would go, give him the 5 million and piss him off. Get him out. Does Ten Hag want him? God no. Get him out. Give him the 5 million and boot him out and never look back. What happens? We all know that Maguire or his team or whatever are playing hardball, and effectively we can't get rid of a player that Ten Hag wants to get rid of and bring in Pavard or Todibo because Maguire won't go. Well, you know what? I can't wait for all these people on social media to start telling us how it's wrong to say Maguire should go and let's cheer Harry, when it's blatantly obvious that Ten Hag wants him to go and he won't go. So who is holding the club back here? Is it Ten Hag or is it Maguire? Is it Ten Hag or is it Donny? These players are holding us back. They're holding us back because they won't go. This is an entertainment business and they won't go. And they won't go because they want money out of your football club. You know, we can all jump and dance around and pretend it's a bloody charity. We're a football club that's trying to win. Does this happen at Man City? Does it happen at Chelsea? Does it happen at a big club? No, it happens at Manchester United because we are weak. And why are we giving Johnny Evans a year contract? Do you think for one... Look, Pep Guardiola was interested in Johnny Evans about 5 years ago. Do you think he's interested in him now? Do you think Chelsea want Johnny Evans? Do you think Liverpool want Johnny Evans? We are turning into a bloody comic, a comic book. We're turning into a bloody pantomime show. Back for another season, it's Johnny Evans. He's playing Dick Whittington. And Harry Maguire is going to be the cow from Jack and the Beanstalk. We are turning into a pantomime. And we're meant to be a football club, and people will be laughing about that, saying, oh, you're being a bit over the top. But you know what? I think we are losing what we're meant to be as a football club. We are meant to be serious. You know, we're meant to be serious. That's what a football club is meant to be. I don't believe we're there just to take part. I don't believe it's there for fun. I think we're there to win. I saw United win the treble. You know, if we'd lost to Bayern Munich, and I wouldn't have sat there going, oh, we tried. You know, I felt that we were going to miss out on something that we had to win. That was our moment. And we've lost the ability to win because we're run by people that don't understand the meaning of the word winning, because it's all about the pounds. Murta and Arnold couldn't sell water in the desert, says Utrecht, and we need to question Erik Ten Hag's style of play. Spurs and Chelsea already have an identity. Well, Marvin, I don't think we're going to go there tonight, but maybe we will. I am glad Chelsea sold and bought the way they did, because it needed them to show our fans what a good window looks like. Akash, I think you're absolutely spot on. You know, this financial fair play thing that I was ranting about back in May, and we had all these journalists saying, financial fair play, financial fair play. Chelsea have sold £300 million worth of players in one summer and bought loads of players. That's how you defeat financial fair play. United just can't do it. Mark, looks like the vacation was fun. On another note, I'm sick and tired. The circus is in town again, carrying Man United, says Amir. And Mark, do you think the players at Chelsea haven't got the power now with 8-year contracts? I'm not here to talk about Chelsea, Nicholas. Maguire should never see the field or even the bench again, says Jeff. Well, look, what I would say about Maguire is, and I don't know how true it is. Welcome back, Mark. Missed your energy on the show, says Soham. It's great to be back, everyone. Make sure you smash a like on the video if you're enjoying it. One thing I will say about Maguire is that apparently he's not part of the Spurs travelling squad tonight. Good. I wouldn't take him. 100%, I wouldn't be taking him. I don't know whether it's true. You never know. But if I was Erik Ten Hag and I've just accepted a bid from West Ham and the players refuse to go, he's in the reserves. 100%. I don't know whether the club will allow that to happen, but 100%. I don't know if it's true, but if I've just sold him if I've took the captaincy off him, I've told him I want him to go, a bid's come in from a Premier League club for 30 million quid and I've accepted it, and he decides he doesn't want to go, he's out my squad. 100%. No fucking about. Do one. And I tell you what, I don't know, but I would imagine Ten Hag is furious because Pavard wants to come to United and he wants Pavard. So effectively what you're doing is, if you know, you can think about this in any scenario of your life if you want, but basically it's like you don't want something anymore and you can see an improvement. And the thing that, look, imagine it's a Formula One car, right? And you're trying to chase Red Bull and you're Mercedes, and you see a piece of your car that you can buy that's going to make you quicker, but the bit that you want to replace says, no, I'm not going to go. That's basically what's happening here. Maguire is refusing to go, and Ten Hag sees an improvement and he won't go. So he's got to put up with something that doesn't make him as good. That's what's happening here. So, you know, the player power at United and the inability to sell is the big disappointment for me. We've had an incredible window. Stop moaning, Mark, says Nazram. Yeah, mate. Thank you very much. The Mount signing is weird. Not the right profile at all. We have to go back for Amrabat and Gravenberch on loan now, says King. And why is the club crying about to sell if they rejected 30 million for McTominay, says Toure? I mean, look, yeah, you know, I wasn't going to mention that tonight, but the failure to sell McTominay for £30 million is another reason to say why the club is a shit show at the moment. Gravenberch wants to come to United. Amrabat wants to come to United. They're sat waiting, but they won't keep waiting. And we've got no money. We've got to sell to buy. Donny won't go. Maguire won't go. Williams won't go. Henderson won't go. McTominay won't go. We can't get rid of the... How can you... You know what? How can you rise to the surface of the sea when you're being held down by these weights that won't let you go? I mean, how... You know, you've got to kick him in the face. You've got to kick him off. Get off me. That's what you've got to do. But United are incapable of doing it. I think that... Look, if somebody said to me, why are United not winning Premier League titles anymore? The most simple answer is, forget players, forget this, that and the other. The simplest answer is, the reason United don't win the Premier League anymore is because they don't run like a club that wants to win the Premier League. And what I mean by that is, you've got bang average players with way more power than Cantona, Beckham, Ince, Keane, Neville, Irwin, Schmeichel, Cole, Hughes, all these great players ever had. You know, players that aren't good enough have more power at United now than Roy Keane ever had under Sir Alex. These players can decide whether they're going or not. Sir Alex walked in the dressing room and went, Stam, you're off. I know you're one of the best centre-backs in Europe, but I didn't like the way you spoke about the Nevilles, you're out. Van Nistelrooy, you're off. I know you're one of the best strikers in Europe, but I don't like the way you treated Ronaldo in training, you're gone. Beckham, you're gone. I know you're one of the best right wingers in the world, but I'm fed up with you and your bloody pissing about with your wife. You're gone. Like, Sir Alex used to get rid of players that were some of the best players in the world. United can't get rid of bang average third, fourth, fifth choice right backs, left backs, centre backs, the lot. That's why we don't win Premier League titles, because we can't be ruthless. The club is a shit show, basically. If we were sold to Qatar, Maguire and co would have been given their severance and shown the door. 100%, Amir. 100%. Absolutely spot on. You are absolutely correct. The way the club is run is undermining everything at the moment. And you know I'm going to come on to something, that's going to divide everybody in a minute. But, I will. Excluding Maguire, don't blame the players. We all know how terrible the club is on selling players. Kept players that have asked to leave in the past, says Jose. I blame the players. I blame the players. Well, no, you're right, actually. I don't blame the players because they shouldn't be getting away with it. You've got to run a club better. I saw somebody say the other day, oh, what's Murta supposed to do if the players won't go? And I nearly spat out my beer. I was like, do your bloody job. Do your job. Welcome back, club. Mark, says Ivan. The club has fallen even further. Coincidence? You're not allowed to on holiday anymore. Let's smash Spurs. Cheers. Look, I'll talk. I'm gonna do a bit of a Spurs preview in the morning because I have been down the pub again today, so I can't really do it properly. But what I will say is a little bit of not a spoiler, a little look ahead to tomorrow morning's show where I'm going to talk a little bit about Spurs. I genuinely want Mason Mount to do well. And I'm genuinely intrigued by Ten Hag's obsession with him. But I completely agree with everybody who's concerned. I feel that with Mason Mount, I'm waiting for something extraordinary to happen that I haven't seen. And look, Ten Hag's a better coach. He's a better football man than most of us watching this show, of course. But on the other hand, Louis van Gaal has won Champions League trophies. I thought he was a shit manager that he couldn't see what we could see. He picked Fellaini over Herrera and it was wrong. We can all dismiss ourselves as football fans, but I think sometimes fans do see better than a manager. With Ten Hag, I trust him. He did a great job last year and I'm sure there's a secret plan for Mason Mount. But at the moment, I'm going to be completely blunt, and most of you have said it anyway, I don't know what the plan is. He is basically Bruno Fernandes and he's not as good. Wolves absolutely annihilated our midfield on Monday at Old Trafford. We should have lost that game 4-0. There's the only silver lining is we won. It was a smash and grab at Old Trafford. They absolutely carved our midfield apart. Mason Mount and Bruno and Casemiro just didn't work. And everybody said it wouldn't work. It's weaker than Eriksen and Bruno and Casemiro, and that was weak. Mason Mount as a defensive commodity was absolutely poppadom. He was terrible. He got broken up. It was rubbish. So I don't know how this is going to work. And away from home at Spurs tomorrow, if he goes with Mount, Bruno and Casemiro, it needs to change completely. It needs to work. You love United in my whole life. Last few days horrific, says Mama. Well, we'll talk about that more tomorrow, about the actual lineup for Spurs. But I do worry about the Mason Mount thing. I mean, you had Gary Neville this week saying, I can see Mason Mount playing on the wing. So we spent £55 million on a number 10 who we're going to put on the wing. I don't get the logic. I don't think that's why Ten Hag bought Mason Mount. I think Mason Mount was bought to be Eriksen. And at the moment, it doesn't look like it can work. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. There was one thing I did want to talk about here, actually. Just before, I'm going to talk about Greenwood. You know I am. I'm not scared. I will do it. But I did want to just bring this in. It's Friday night, okay? Let me just find where this is. Okay, so this was from Jamie Carragher today. At over £100 million, Fernandes, Rice and Caicedo are all better value signings than Casemiro is at 70 million. He did very well last season, but watching him on Monday would be a worry for Man United with him at 31 and 4 years left on his deal. I think it's sad. Okay, so look, at the end of the day, I think Carragher sometimes comes across better than Neville, but I think it's really sad how these ex-players who profess that their one unique angle over us is they've played the game. I've played the game, right? I've played the game. The one thing they have that I can't talk about is they've played the game at the highest level. I haven't done that. And yet, they put shit out like that I wouldn't put out. I can look at Liverpool and say, I think McAllister's a good signing. I think Salah's one of the most underrated players in the world. And I do think that Nunez will come good. I don't like Liverpool, but I can pragmatically look at their team. Carragher put some shitty article out like that for clicks. How embarrassing is that? Your selling point is you've played the game. And you're putting out clickbait shit like that about Casemiro. That Fernandes and Caicedo have got more value than Casemiro because he's 31. And he played badly against Wolves. Oh my God. I mean, but the thing is though, this is the sort of thing I'd expect from an up-and-coming shitty YouTube channel that's trying to shock. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And I fear... I'm glad we have our community because ultimately we do talk shit sometimes. I'm fully aware of that. But at least it's got its heart in the right place. That's just bitter bullshit wank. You know, it's absolute shit. I couldn't believe it when I read it today. I was like, oh my God. He's basically saying that Rice, Caicedo and Fernandes, who cost 30... In fact, we paid 60. We paid 60 for Casemiro, by the way, not 70. So it's a lie straight away. We spent £60 million on Casemiro. And he's trying to say that Rice, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez are better than Casemiro at nearly half, and he was nearly half the price. And he's still one of the best CDMs in the world. I mean, I try not to get pulled into these conversations, but it's crap. It's crap. And he should be doing better than that. He should be doing better than that. You've played the game, Jamie. You've played the game. Why are you doing wind up, clickbait, bullshit, nonsense, I'm a Scouser articles like that? What are you adding to the game with shit like that? I'm tired of this. It's 2017. This whole Rashford's better than Saka argument bullshit is crap. Football fans have moved on. They're educated. They're willing to say that Kevin De Bruyne is the best CDS attacking midfielder in the world, even though he plays for City. You know, football fans may well have rivalry, but they are able to look at other players of clubs they don't like and say they're very good players. You know, I can look at Arsenal and say Saka's fantastic. I can look at Liverpool and say Salah's unbelievable. I can do that. I don't like to do it because they play for rivals, but I can do it because it's logical and we are appreciating the game that we love. What a load of shit. I've never heard such crap in all my life. I think it's appalling that Gary and Jamie and all the other lot have to now resort to that for clicks. I think it's bullshit and they should be better than that because the thing that they want to be better, their elitism lies in the fact I've played the game. And then they talk sewer like that. Rubbish. Tanbridge returns. Welcome back, Mark. Hope you had a good holiday. Thanks, Buster. Let's beat Spurs tomorrow. Yeah, I want to talk about Spurs tomorrow in the morning. I mean, I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it. Based on the way we played on Monday, I'm worried about it. You're an inspiration and you speak highly about the club. We all support. Keep up the good work, says Lloyd. Thank you, Lloyd. You're a legend. Looks like the vacation was fun, says Amir. On another note, I'm sick or tired. The circus is in town again and carrying Man United, says Amir. Mark, thank you very much. Marky, welcome to the members club. Look, you know, just on Casemiro, by the way, I've already predicted this. Varane and Casemiro will be targeted next. After De Gea, it would be Bruno, but Bruno's the captain, so they can't get him. the next players for the Brexiteers to go for will be Casemiro and Varane. And when I say Brexiteers, I'm not just talking about the media. I'm not just talking about certain ex-players. There'll be people in our fan base as well. Casemiro and Varane are next on the list. I'm telling you. I've already told you. Did you see Murta in Spain, says Amand? I did, actually. He was there. He was sat there having a big pint of sex on the beach. And he said, I'm still on holiday and I won't be back till September. He had a right good smile on his face. But you know what? I do want to talk about something serious in a moment. But I just want to just say that there's a couple of other things I wanted to say that I wrote down for the show. I've spoken about Johnny Evans already. Right, let's talk about Mason Greenwood, right? I don't want to talk about Mason Greenwood in the sense about what I think, because I did a video when I was on holiday and I covered everything off there about what I think. So I'm not going to say anything else about that. But what I did want to comment on is that there was a piece by Adam Crafton today in The Athletic. And I just want to say this first of all. This is going to be very even-handed, right? I was in a chat group today and people were saying, I've always said Adam Crafton's a great journalist in The Athletic. And I said, this is a guy who deleted tweets about Qatar. He was anti-Qatar and United and he deleted tweets. So just because he fits your rhetoric about the Greenwood saga, he also deleted tweets about Qatar. And he doesn't want United to be owned by Qatar. So, look, let's not, I think it's a lesson there. People jump from one fad to another. He's great, he's great, he's great. How about this? Sometimes in life, people say good stuff and sometimes they say bad stuff. And sometimes you agree with them and sometimes you don't. Nothing wrong with that. You don't have to worship one person. Like, they can be as wrong as we can be. And I think he was right about this. Basically, what he said about the Mason Greenwood situation is that there's people within the club who feel they've been sidetracked, who they've not been listened to. There's talk of people being very upset about Mason Greenwood. And we're talking about people who work at Man United here. There's people who are upset that he's going to be brought back, and there's people talking about going on strike if he gets brought back. More importantly, I suppose, to some of you, is that the dressing room is not in perfect harmony about great Mason Greenwood being brought back, which I think is, look, again, I'm not going to, you know what I've said about it, and I know what some of you've said about it, and I completely understand that some of you want him back tomorrow, and I completely understand and acknowledge that some of you don't. I'm talking about what the situation is at United, and I have said this to you a lot. I've said it a lot, and I know it's right. I know it's right. I know it's right as much as I knew Højlund was going to sign for United at the start of June. I know this is right. There are certain players in that dressing room that are massively uncomfortable with Mason Greenwood returning. I'm not going to give you the names. Personally, I think those players should come out themselves. I know the names, and they should come out. They should come out because it would be... I find it baffling. You know me, I'll say what I think. And I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of you as well, which is why I say what I think, because I know these conversations go on. I'm stunned that certain ex-players can sit there slagging off Mourinho, Bruno, De Gea, in what I think is an unfair way, but will say next to nothing about Greenwood or which owner should own United. But they'll go on and on and on about trivial things, about things that don't necessarily matter, and they will know this probably more than me. They've probably got United players in their WhatsApp group. There are players in that United dressing room that don't want Mason Greenwood back, and the reasons for that might shock you. Some of them don't like him. Some of them think it reflects badly on them as a player and brand them. But they're not all happy about it. Now, on the other hand, some of them really like him and want him to come back. But it's not a clean sweep. This nonsense that we've been fed over the last few months, that the United dressing room all want him back and they all want to help him, support him, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And there isn't, just like our fan base, there are people in that football club who are not happy about this and effectively feel that Richard Arnold and co are railroading them into something they're not comfortable with. Now, we've just spent the last, 40 minutes talking about the shit show that is Man United. Transfers, some of the players forcing themselves to stay against the manager's wishes. Wherever you sit on Greenwood, this is why I'm not going to talk about what people want. This is not about whether Greenwood should return. What we're talking about is the way the decision has been made, and the fact that certain people in that football club just decided they know better. A lot of people in that club don't want him back, and that's in the dressing room as well. Some of them do, some of them don't. But it's not this clean sweep out there where everybody does. And I said this on the video I did the other day. I personally think Richard Arnold should go. I think he should be sacked. I think the way that he has handled this situation is wrong. And you know, the interesting thing about this is, and I couldn't do it on the video the other day, it's much easier to do it when you're live because your brain works quicker and I'm interacting with you good people, is that even if you want Greenwood back, let me tell you this. I think Arnold and the way the club have run this has been an absolute joke, right? Even if you wanted him back, I would still be sat there saying it's a joke. We are into the start of the season. It is the 18th of August. The transfer window closes 2 weeks today. And United still haven't closed this off. You know why they haven't closed it off? Because they keep kicking it down the road. Because they don't know what to do with it. They won't make a decision on it. So even if you want him back, he could have been training with the first team from July the 1st. He could have been on loan from July the 1st. It's not about whether you want him back or not. We all have our own opinion on that. But the way they've handled it as a football club has been a joke. And they keep hiding behind the fact that we've done a thorough investigation. Look, what thorough investigation have you done? I don't think the police handed you... You know, there's people out there going that United have done a more thorough investigation than the police. Manchester United's a football club. Greater Manchester Police are not going to turn up at Carrington and go, there's the case file. It's ridiculous. And for somebody who's worked in that space, and I'm sure every journalist would agree with me, the police are not going to turn up to United and go, we've dropped our case because we can't get it to court. But here you go. You can have all the interviews, all the evidence. Bullshit. Man United have messed this up. And from a PR point of view, they've dragged this great club through the mud. We are getting ridiculed by lots of charities, lots of journalists, lots of other fans. And for what? For what? Ultimately, what underpins everything is Manchester United. Not David Beckham, not Eric Ten Hag, not Sir Alex Ferguson, not Roy Keane, not George Best. Manchester United's name and is what we support. That's what we support. And our club and our name is being dragged through the mud by people who aren't even United fans. Richard Arnold's not a United fan. John Murtaugh's not a United fan. The Glazers aren't United fans. And they're making decisions that are dragging our great name through the mud. Because we do not know and we do not have the people in right positions to run this football club. Whatever you think about the Mason Greenwood situation is your decision to make. I'm not here to tell you what to think. But the way they've handled this, whichever side of the fence you're on, the way they've handled it is a bloody joke. It's a joke. And whether you want him back scoring for United or whether you want him scoring back goal for Leyton Orient, it's irrelevant to the point that I'm making is that the way we've handled it is insensitive, arrogant, and completely out of touch with what Manchester United Football Club should represent. And if we get this wrong, it's not Richard Arnold, he'll be sacked. It's not John Murtaugh, it's not the Glazers, they'll be long gone. It's the damage it does to this football club for decades in the future. By getting this wrong and doing this wrong, it will tarnish this club's great name. And that is what annoys me the most. Because I can listen to United fans and I can listen to us disagree or agree. But I also listen to what other people are saying about us. And it doesn't sit right with me at all. Neville Logic, we spent 55 million on Mount to put on the wing. Did we not learn from Mata? Either Bruno needs Ericsson role or bring both back as 2/8, says Cyber Spider. Thank you. Were people upset when other players were bought who had been accused of the same crime? Don't think he should come back, says Nicholas. The way United are handling this isn't really surprising considering they have NFL owners. Massive correlation there, those moral. Well, Tyler, you probably make a good point because I follow NFL. And like some of the things that go on with the NFL and players that still play the game. Yeah, you're right. Andy Weatherall's just gifted 5 memberships. Mark, looks like I've done that from Amir as well. Thank you very much. I'm just going to move into a bit of a chat section now. I feel like, it's my first show back and I'm probably running out of steam a bit. Are we a football team or a family court, says Joel. You know what we are? You know what Manchester United is to me? Manchester United, when I think back to, getting home from primary school and my granddad was a builder and, in the winter nights, it gets dark at like 3:30 in the UK. So he wouldn't be building. He'd be back. I'd be getting back from school. He'd have some VHS on. He'd be sat there having his tea on his lap, and I'd be watching TV with him, watching about George Best and the Busby Babes and all this. And I just remember from a very young age, I couldn't believe how football, this thing that I absolutely loved, could also be the best film, the best book, the best story ever told. Because the best stories that are ever told aren't just Lollipop Lane and Candy Floss Clouds and Cherryade, Lemonade, Rain and all that shit. The best stories and life is about tragedy. It's about the reality that we're here for. We're not, tomorrow, today, next week, hopefully a long time in the future, we will go and we don't know how we're going to go. And the thing that captivated, I was always going to support United anyway, but the thing that captivated me about Manchester United, and the only club that comes close in the Premier League is Liverpool, who've been through their own tragedies, is that Manchester United always had this over any other club. Not only we're the greatest, but we've also got this story. And you can't appreciate the highs if you don't feel the lows and the tragedy of this football club. And Manchester United isn't just about football. No, it's not. It is about Munich. It is about the Busby Babes. It is about Sir Matt. It is about 68. It is about the barren years. It is about the relegation. It is about Sir Alex. It is about him nearly being sacked. It is about that first Premier League title. It is about the treble. It is about the domination. And it is about the last 10 years under the Glazers, which in a different way has been sickening. It's a story. And it's a football club. And you cheapen it when you do things. Look, football fans have morals. Football doesn't. Football used to have morals. Football fans still do. And the big reason football fans united from so many different clubs against the Super League is because the Super League was mercenary. The Super League was evil. The Super League was immoral. And football fans fought against it because football fans have morals. This football club is the greatest story ever told. And it won't be. And look, I know Liverpool fans. I know Arsenal fans. I know Chelsea fans. You get them down the pub for a pint and you talk about this and they will acknowledge it. The story of Manchester United is one that evokes passion, even amongst our rivals. But the minute you start doing things that tarnishes your reputation, you lose that. And I think the way the club's being run at the moment, we are not recognisable as what Manchester United should be. We are not Manchester United at the moment. I don't know what we are. I don't know what word you would use, but I think over the last 10 years, we've got worse and worse. And I'm not saying that a Qatari ownership makes us better. Maybe I think it makes us better to a certain extent, but we've lost our way as a football club. We haven't lost our way as a fan base. The fan base get it completely, but I'm disgusted by some of the decisions that go on in the footballing sense and in what we've discussed as well. Yeah, and I think that, look, it's difficult because I personally, there's nothing. If I met one of you in the street and you said to me, I want Mason Greenwood to play for Man United and score goals, and you said it right up in my face and you expected me to do something, I'd just go fine and walk off. There would be no, you can't rock me. You can't rock me. I'd just go, I don't want it to happen. Go and have a good night. And they'd probably hit me over the head with a glass. I certainly wouldn't do anything. You can't shock me. You can't. I want Mason Greenwood back because I want my star boy. I want him to score goals. That's up to you. That's your choice. Well done. You've got an opinion. I don't care about that. That's not my decision is not my decision is my decision. Your decision is your decision. The fact that my decision makes you angry says a lot about you. It doesn't make me angry if you want him back. I'm not comfortable with it. But above all of that, I think the way it's been handled is a disgrace. Obviously, I'm party to information within the club as well, amongst people who feel the same. And my biggest problem is that football club, whether it's transfers, sale, or this, it's just a bunch of incompetent people who've got no idea what this football club is. They just don't get what this football club is. You don't realise that these people in positions of power were brought into the club by the Glazers. They're not football people, and they're certainly not United fans, and they make business brand decisions. I would just clear it out completely. Richard Arnold, Matt Judge, Ed Woodward, they all came in as part of the Glazers sale. They're not United fans. They were all at bloody uni together. They're not United fans. They're not football people. They are business people who work for the Glazers. And the club runs like that. They are not the club is owned by the Glazers. They're not football people. The club is not in the hands of people who understand what this football club is about. And that is why, all the way through it, transfers, success on the pitch, decisions off the pitch, it's just out of touch. Maguire staying is the same reason why Greenwood's girlfriend stayed with him. Would you allow me to elaborate his line? I don't know what that means. That's totally right. United, with its great history, is almost a philosophy. United and United stand saved me after the biggest tragedy in my life. He shouldn't come back and traumatise half our fans. Says Shahin. I can never leave United as a supporter. It means too much to me. My family is everywhere to clubs, be it Leeds, Liverpool, Bolton, Wigan. Glazers out, says Cyber Spider. And Mark, thank you very much for that. A lot of people asking me about the Spurs game tomorrow. Obviously, it's only the second game of the season. I'm massively excited about it. I couldn't believe what happened on Monday night. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe how we got absolutely played off the park. I mean, so much so, well, we did the watch along together, didn't we? But so much so, I actually was like, Wolves are really good. Their midfield killed us, and games are won and lost in the midfield. So I'm worried about the game tomorrow. I mean, we can only get better, but I mean, really, we should probably lose tomorrow. That's my stance. We should probably lose. There were so many poor performances, but we need to win. We need to win because we can't be that bad again. I think, look, I'm going to talk about how I would line up on the morning show tomorrow, but I don't think I'm wide of the mark to say that Mount and Garnacho need to come out for Sancho and Eriksen. I mean, I think it's the most logical thing. You could even make a case of taking Mount out for McTominay. But we've got to sort that midfield out. You can't play... I mean, I hope we can. I'm not saying 100% Mount shouldn't play, but if he goes Mount, Bruno and Casemiro, with how well Basuma and Maddison played last week, they'll beat us. I think you've got to have more. Look, our away record is shit. We know that. Our away record against the top 10 last season was relegation form. It was terrible. What does that tell you? You've got to solidify your midfield. I mean, I said it after the game against Wolves. Amrabat should be making his debut tomorrow. Amrabat should be playing tomorrow because we need Amrabat. This week has been a write-off. United have done nothing. We've done nothing. I don't think we did anything last week, but we've done nothing this week. Nobody's been sold and nobody's been bought. And it gets swept under the carpet. Oh, but we bought Hoyland and we bought Anana and we bought Mount. We've done 3 deals, really. 3 deals in 3 months. Not good enough. What's your update on Hoyland, Mark? I've always said that in relation to Hoyland, I thought he'd be back for the Forest game. I don't think he was ever going to be back for the Spurs game because Monday night Wolves, Saturday Spurs, very close. I think he'll be back for the Forest game, and I mean he might start, but I'd probably say bench. But I think he'll be back for the Forest game, definitely. Anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm getting tired now. It's a long show when you do an hour and you're not used to it. But I really enjoyed it, everyone. I hope you did as well. We are back. Oh, well, I'm back at 10 o'clock tomorrow. What do you think Erik ten Hag can achieve this season, says Mojo? I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of being negative because obviously we were crap on Monday, but we did win. And I actually think that Monday night against Wolves is obviously cause for positivity. Because is that not what we did last year? We didn't play good football, but we ended up with a trophy in 3rd place. And I think that's the genius of Ten Hag, is that he can deliver in bad situations. We shouldn't have beat Wolves, and we did. And maybe that'll happen tomorrow. I genuinely do worry about the football. I mean, I'll tell you something else right now. This inverted fullback shit doesn't work with Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw. I mean, I've watched football for years. I've coached it. I've played it. Doesn't work. If you're going to do what he tries to do with Wan-Bissaka and Shaw, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Luke Shaw, as a normal overlapping left back, one of the best in Europe. Luke Shaw, as a left-sided centre-back, one of the best in the league. Luke Shaw tucking in as a midfielder, no, doesn't work. And Wan-Bissaka definitely doesn't work. If you're going to do that, Delo should play. And people won't want to hear that because they don't realise what we're trying to do. We're basically what we did on Monday was Casemiro, Varane, and Martinez were like centre backs. Martinez, Mount, and Bruno were like attackers with Rashford. You had 2 wide players, and then Wan-Bissaka and Shaw were tucking in to be part of the midfield. That's what the plan was. It didn't fucking work, but that was the plan. Delo actually knows what he's doing when he does that. Whether you trust his ability levels, he knows what he's doing. Luke Shaw, I mean, look, I like Luke Shaw. I think he's a really good player. But, you know, Luke Shaw is a brilliant left-sided centre-back, a brilliant left full-back, and now you're asking him to be a brilliant inverted left midfielder. I don't think it works. It still needs a lot of work. Is it sunny where you came from? Hope you're well, Mark, and great to see you back. Can't wait for the watch-along tomorrow. Good, Sam. I am good. Thank you, everyone. Heat's on tonight. TV tonight, Mark. Well, I'll be watching that. I'll definitely be watching that. Cracking summer movie. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Just a little bit of a heads up tomorrow. There's a watch-along. Speak to you all later. Take care. I thought I had something better to say. You're all legends. It's great to be back. I loved it tonight. And obviously, I'll be back a lot more now because I'm back from my holidays. Take care, everyone. Speak to you all in a bit.